This is the Calvin D Project, where we interview interesting people driven to change the trajectories of those they serve through learning, teaching, and writing. I want to thank you for being here. We're pleased to welcome Dr. Greg Harris out of Rancho Cucamonga, California. Make sure you stick around because some of the most powerful content is the advice portion that's at the end. So right before we dive in, I want to make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already and hit that bell notification icon so you can get more episodes like this one. Tell me a little bit about yourself and your ministry.
My name is Greg Harris. I'm originally from Little Rock, Arkansas. That's where I was born and raised. I come in a large family. It was 7 boys and 3 girls in my family. And my father was in the military. So I always had sisters and brothers around me, family all around me. My musical journey started at a very young age. This is what happened. I went to the Arkansas State Fair and they had an exhibit hall. And we went into the exhibit hall, my dad and my sisters and brothers, and this organ, Kimball organ that I fell in love with. We played with it, and I wish that I had that organ. So one day, my brothers and I, we went to get haircuts, and I lost my money on the way to get the haircut. So I had to come back home to get more money to get my haircut. So when I got to the steps of my house, I could hear that organ. My daddy had went and purchased that organ for me. So it started there. I started playing by ear. I would hear the music and 45 records. I used to put them on and listen, and I could just play. So that's how my musical journey started. And that's a little bit about me, born and raised in Little Rock, Arkansas.
You were actually the first writer and musician from the state of Arkansas to have his work accepted into the Gospel Music Workshop of America New Music Seminar and GMWA Mass Choir. What would you say is your style as an artist?
My first time submitting something to the Gospel Music Workshop was in 1988. My first time going to the Gospel Music Workshop was in 1988. It was in St. Louis, Missouri. I said, the next year I'm going to submit a song. So in 89, I submitted a song and it was accepted in the New Music Seminar. It was called Someday We're Going Away. That was the title of that song. I think the style of my music is a traditional with a contemporary flair. I can do some riffs and rhymes. I can go there. So I think it's traditional music. And when I say traditional, it's music that has a traditional background, but it has a contemporary flair. The music is, you can hear jazz, you can hear R&B within it, and I can sing like that. So that's the style of my music. I would say traditional with a contemporary flair to it.
We're currently in the CCM era, but the Mass Choir era created the foundation. Let's talk a little bit about the Mass Choir phase.
Okay,
so you're talking about the Little Rock Community Choir. What's the story behind that?
So I always grew up singing in the church choir. Chicago has a lot of church choirs. The church choirs are going to be here to stay because you still have churches and they have choirs. The praise team, 2 or 3 people, there's nothing wrong with a group. I have sung with a group before myself. Church choirs is a part of the history of the church, and I played for church choirs. So the church that I played for in Little Rock, one of the churches I played for, Macedonia Baptist Church, they have rebuilt the church since I was there, and it's now called the Greater Macedonia Baptist Church. Played for them during the time when I founded the Little Rock Community Choir there. The pastor, Pastor Cleo Nellum, allowed us to practice at the church on Monday nights, and some of the choir members were from the church choir, some of the church choir members and people from the community, because we would audition people to sing in the choir and we would travel different places. So that's how I started being the minister of music of Macedonia Baptist Church, and Pastor Cleo Nellum allowing me to practice at the church. So that's how I started. And at one time we had over 100 voices, and it was just like having church. On Monday nights, we would come together and the choir members would be shouting. We would be praying for people. Sometimes people would fall out under the power. It was just like I was a little pastor. That's how I felt. Like I was, building my ministry, and God was preparing me for the things that I would do in the future. But that's how I started with the choir. We traveled. We went many places. Got a chance to perform on Bobby Jones when he was on BET many times. We traveled to Ohio. The late Queen of Gospel, Albertina Walker, invited us to Chicago one time when the city of Chicago was doing a salute to her. And we got a chance to be on that program with the Chicago Mass, the Barrett Sisters, Clay Evans, all those different singers. I mean, I remember that. That was a great opportunity. And also, the late Queen of Gospel Music, Albertina Walker, she invited us at her church that Sunday morning. So we performed at her church that Sunday morning. And then that afternoon, we went over to Clay Evans Church to be a part of this salute that the city of Chicago was doing for the Queen, the late Albertina Walker.
Yeah, that's some heavy hitters now.
Yeah, it was. I still have my program from that day. I still have it. It was in 1998, to be exact.
Most recently, you were also able to participate in the Stellar Awards weekend. What was that experience like for you?
Just sitting on the red carpet, talking to different artists as they came through. I was there. My brother is on radio and I'm on radio as well. So we kind of like sat together and was listening to some of the artists that came through. I posted one of my videos of Tamala Man on TikTok and I've gotten almost 5,000 hits. And I've had like 600, 500 and something, but I've never had almost 5,000 hits. That experience at the Stellar Awards, it was a great experience. Just talking to the artists, Pastor Mike, I got a chance to talk to him. I got a chance to hear Doe Jones. Got a chance to hear the other part of Mary Mary. I got a chance to, Ricky Dillard, Jalen Carr, just all the artists that were there. I enjoyed every minute of it. I stayed over that Sunday. Lady Wonderbill did a indie artist now, along with a good friend of mine, Denise Tishner, with Rep Nation, and I'm a part of Rep Nation. And we did a concert at Brian Wilson's church. Okay. And Brian Wilson is the one with the Mississippi Mass Children's Choir. The song "His Eye is on the Sparrow." He was a shouting, and we had a great time. Also, that Sunday morning, Carlos with the Urban Cafe, he did a thing at a restaurant. So I got a chance to sing that Sunday morning. And then that Sunday evening, I got a chance to go to Apostle Brian Wilson's church and perform with indie artists now and Rep Nation. So I had a great time in Atlanta. It was all that and a bag of chips.
And let me say shout out to Lady Wonderbill. She does a lot for independent artists. So I just want to get that shout out to her.
At one point, I wanted to stop singing, and Lady Wonderbill told me, you can't stop. And she encouraged me, and I kept pushing forward. So I'm grateful to her. She's a great supporter of indie artists. So thank God for her.
I want to also say congratulations, because you'll be a performer at the International Gospel Music Summit. For those that are not familiar with that event, tell us a little bit about the summit.
The summit, 1 year they have it in the UK, the next year they come to the USA. Last year it was in the UK. I didn't get a chance to go to the UK, but I've been there before. This year it's going to be in the USA in Seattle, Washington. So I'm looking forward to being a part of it this year and going and performing at the International Summit. It's where artists all around the world, we come together and we share our gifts to the world.
Your song, let's talk a little bit about your music. God Did It Again. Reached #1 on Gospel Internet Radio chart. What was the inspiration behind that song?
That song, it came from pain. A year ago, a year ago, I lost my oldest daughter. And after the funeral and after everything, God gave me 2 songs, and this is one of the songs that he gave me, God, You Did It Again. And I thought about during that time, all of the things as a pastor that I had shared with other people, I had to use it for myself and to encourage myself during that process. It's close to a year. August the 14th will be a year since my oldest daughter has been gone. But God gave me the 2 songs. He gave me a beat first, and I was able to go in the studio with my producer, Claude Deuce Harris. And we were able to chord this song, and I'm excited about this song. A lot of feedback, a lot of positive comments from people. It was birthed from pain. God, You Did It Again. So he heals, he set me up. So I'm grateful to God for giving me this song out of my pain that I can encourage somebody else.
And let me first say, sorry for your loss. I spoke with Chosen Be Nice, and he spoke about encouraging your strong friends, because even your strong friends need words of encouragement. I understand that you, on most occasions, give daily words of encouragement and you give daily words of inspiration. Why is it important for you to give that inspiration and encouragement?
I'm getting up 3 days a week, going to the gym 5:30 a.m. or 6. And after I come out, I usually, want to give a word of encouragement to people. I feel if God, blesses me to get up and I have all this energy and I'm feeling really great, and I want to share how I'm feeling. So I try to share some tips that might help somebody else along the way. I like when I get comments, thank you for sharing that. I needed that today. That's a plus for me. It's just a part of doing to try to engage the people and to let people know I'm out here, that I love them and that I care.
You also operate in the pastoral space and you have a doctorate in theology. How rewarding is it for you to be a gospel artist and a pastor?
It started, at a very young age. I started preaching when I was 22, but I believe I was doing it before then. My mom said they say I would run through the house and I always was praying and doing different things. But it's rewarding to know the word, because I can, when I write a song, it's easy for me to write a song. The words they just literally come to me and I can just put it on paper and I can relate to the word. I'm not fooled because I know what the word says. So I thank God for allowing me to graduate with a doctorate in pastoral theology and being able to use that. I pastored a church in Des Moines, Iowa for about 13 years. And then I retired in 2019. And I've been in California for almost 3 years. But I pastored the church for 13 years. But I'm still doing my ministry. I'm on Clubhouse. Tuesday nights, I've shared different topics along with a good friend of mine, Pastor Miracle out of Nigeria. And I've met a lot of people on Clubhouse, and I've been in a lot of rooms where I moderated. So I'm still utilizing my gift. Currently, here in California, I attend City of Refuge, and I work with the men's department with Bishop Wiltshire. So I'm still, utilizing my gift where needed.
Is that also the Refreshing Outreach Ministries?
But the Refreshing Outreach Ministry, it started in Little Rock when I had the choir. It started there, but then in Des Moines, Iowa, I had a church that was called Refreshing Outreach Ministries.
Okay.
And I still have a Gregory Harris Ministry, so I'm still utilizing Refreshing Outreach Ministries, the ministries of faith, love, and deliverance. So I'm still ministering. It's not in a church building. I did that for 13 years, and the church was called Refreshing Outreach.
You mentioned a little bit earlier about your radio show, that you're also a radio host, GodRadio1.com. Tell me a little bit about the Greg Harris Show.
I have 2 shows. One of my shows is on my own radio station. It's called KSDE here in California. It's a 24-hour internet radio station. And on Sundays from 1 until 2 p.m., I'm on GodRadio1.com. I have a show. It's called Dr. Greg Harris with the Quartet Showcase. So I play quartet, but I infuse it with other solo artists that you would see on a quartet showcase. I infuse it, but on my radio station, I play a variety of music. It doesn't matter what I'm playing, just different music that I play on KSDE. But on Sunday evenings, I play quartet music with the Quartet Showcase on GodRadio1.com.
You're also the author of 2 books. The first, Jamie Nara, and How I Got Off the Tree Limb. What's the focus of Greg's Corner?
Okay, Greg's Corner is a podcast that I started. I was on Clubhouse and I shared some parts of the book, How I Got Off the Tree Limb, and some of the moderators said, you ought to start a podcast. I think this would be good for a podcast. So I started off with a podcast sharing information about the book, and then started giving encouragement, sharing information from the book, How I Got Off the Tree Limb. How I Got Off the Tree Limb is a book about my life. The Jamie Norray book is a children's book about a little boy that wanted to sing, had a dream about singing. So it's a children's book, Jamie Norray. And How I Got Off the Tree Limb is a short biography on my life from the cradle to adulthood. So I'm sharing different experiences that I've had that I feel has really helped me to get off the tree limb. Like in 1975, I had a throat condition and I lost my voice completely, and God healed me with that throat condition. So I share that experience. I share experience that I had a revival when I was young, and a preacher told me to get off that tree limb. So I share in a book what that means. That's how I came up with the title, because he told me to get off that limb, and then he shared, what he meant when he said get off that limb. This is what he said. He said, boy, he said, look out that one. You see that tree out there? You can't have an apple pie until you get the apples off of the tree limb. So he said, get off that limb. And it has stayed with me. That was a long time ago, but it stayed with me like it was yesterday. I can hear him telling me that.
Now, I'm going to change gears a little bit. If you were putting together a starting lineup for a concert of independent artists, who was on your starting five?
And they just have to be independent artists?
Independent artists.
Oh, I would have Denise Tishner on there for real.
Okay.
She could blow. I have her on there. I would have Desiree out of Indianapolis. I would have her on there. I sure would have Reverend Lawrence Thomason out of Nashville. I would have him on there.
Okay. That's three.
And let's see. I would have Twinkie Clark on there because, she does her own thing now, so she could be considered independent gospel artist because she does her own stuff. Sandra Crouch. I have Sandra Crouch on there too. Everybody now is independent artists. They putting out their own music, got their own record labels. So it's not like it was in the days, signed with a label. There's people that's Vicki Winers, she would be considered, she has her own company. So I would have her on too.
What new projects that you're excited about that you can share with us at this time?
I've been working with Denise Tishner. We've been going around the country. We just did a show this past Sunday in Indianapolis. It's Denise Tishner and Friends, and it's the Motown Showcase. We did one in February in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and we received a lot of response from that. I think the thing that got me was after the show, the people were coming up talking to us. They were buying our gospel CDs. And we also, to a church in Indianapolis, Pastor Taylor from Jerome Taylor, New Beginnings Christian Church. I think that's what it's called, New Beginnings. But anyway, I got a chance to go there Sunday morning, share my gift with them, and they purchased my CDs over there. And then Sunday night, I went to the Madam C. Walker Theater and did the Motown Showcase. So I had a great time in Indianapolis. So that's some of the things that I'm doing. And, we have some more opportunities to showcase across the country through Denise Tishner. So I thank God for me finding her through a friend. And it was funny because I heard her on a radio broadcast and I was going to call. I had wrote the number down. And then I had a friend from North Carolina to call me and say, I think you ought to call this person. I think they can help you. So it was a great partnership. I met her husband, and she has been a blessing to me. She done photo shoots. I've done recordings. I've done all kind of stuff that she's been, helping me to do it. So I'm grateful to Denise Tishner Davis. She is a woman of God, and she has a love and a passion for independent gospel artists. So she's been helping a lot of us.
That's what's up. Now, what words of encouragement would you like to give to an inspired artist?
What I would say is do your homework. If you think, you're just doing it because you want to get rich overnight, then I say don't do it. Because, it's a process that you go through, and it's not all about the money. That's part of it. But ministry is a part of it because you're touching lives. So make sure that you have the right motive for wanting to do it, because gospel music is just a piece of the pie. It's not the whole pie. It's just a small piece of the pie. And everybody don't make it like Kirk Franklin or C.C. Winans, but you still can, showcase your music. You still can sell CDs. You still can sell other products, and you still can be productive. So that's what I would say to an aspiring artist.
For my audience that's wanting to connect with you, how do we find you?
My website is GregoryHarrisMinistries.com. So that's GregoryHarris.com. GregoryHarrisMinistries.com. Instagram, it's at GregHarris365. On Twitter, it's at GregHarris365. That's my handle, GregHarris365. And you can find me anywhere music downloads, Apple. Just put my name in and my music will come up. Anywhere you get download, Spotify, anywhere, I'm out there.
Dr. Gregory Harris, I want to thank you for being a guest on the Calvin D Project podcast this week. For my audience, be sure to connect with Dr. Gregory Harris on social media and be sure to check out his music. If you haven't, hit that subscribe button and hit the bell notification icon so that you can get more episodes like this one. And thank you again for listening to the Calvin D Project.